So I think we're live, right?
We are.
Okay, so hello and welcome back to the Family Constellations Conversation podcast. I'm Carol and I'm so happy to have you join us again for our second episode. I'm here with my wonderful co-host and fellow Family Constellation facilitator, Oriane. Hi, Oriane.
Hi, Carol. I'm so excited for today's conversation. Thank you to everyone who is tuning in. It's so great to have you here with us. And I'm so excited for today's discussion.
Yes, but okay, same here. But before we dive into this topic, we wanted to take a moment to acknowledge some of the feedback and questions we received after our first episode. We love hearing from you, and one of the most common questions was about the structure of a family constellation session. So we'd like to take a moment to clarify some of that.
Yeah. So, family constellation can take place in two formats, either as a one-on-one session with a facilitator or in a group setting, in a group workshop. There are usually between 6 to 20 participants, and one person at a time gets their consolation. The other participants either act as representatives in the process or simply observe, witness.
Okay. And right. And the length of a session varies. It can be as short as 15 minutes or last up to an hour, or even more sometimes. So depending on what needs to be unfolding. There's no strict limit and time limit, and because we follow what emerges in the field.
Well, another important point we would like to highlight is that family consolation don't need to be done too frequently. A single session can bring profound shifts, and it's often beneficial to allow time for those changes to settle before engaging in another constellation. This is very important.
Thank you, Oriane, for defining that. So also what we'd like to say is, like in a workshop with around, let's say, 10 participants, for example, we might facilitate about 5 constellation in a day, but this number can vary depending on the depth of each process.
Yeah, and we can give different types of exercises also. That's very important to know. So one key principle we always uphold is confidentiality. Everything that happens in the session stays in the session. And at the start of each workshop, we set with all the group clear agreements to ensure a safe and respectful space for all participants.
That's very useful for participants to know. Also, we wanted to say that some of you might feel too shy to share their issues out loud. So there's no pressure. You can whisper it to the facilitator, or if you prefer, you don't have to say anything at all. As facilitators, we have ways of working with the energy in the room without needing all the details or information.
Yeah. The only one who has to know what's going on during the consultation is the client. So there is a lot of flexibility in how consultations are facilitated, but one thing remains the same. No one is ever forced to do anything. It's a teamwork, and your participation is always at your own pace and comfort level.
Yeah, and as facilitators, we make sure that you are comfortable indeed. Like we have tissues in case you need to cry, but we'll hold the space for you for that. So finally, we want to emphasize that safety is key. Physical touch is never allowed without prior consent, ensuring that everyone feels completely comfortable throughout the process.
We hope this gives you a clearer understanding of what to expect in a family consultation session. And if you have more questions, please feel free to reach out. We love engaging with you.
Thanks, Oriane. So let's move into today's theme, our relationship to our parents. which is one of the most fundamental aspects of family constellations. So in our first episode, we explore what family constellations are and why they're such a powerful tool for uncovering hidden dynamics within family system. So if you missed that episode, we highly recommend checking it out, as it's great introduction to this transformative work. So these relationships are so, we're going back to the relationship to our parents. These relationships are so fundamental to who we are, and they influence us in many, many ways, and ways we may not even realize. Oriane, isn't this such a rich topic?
Absolutely, Carol. Our connection is the base of our life. So, this connection to our parents is one of the most central aspects of our lives, and it often holds the key to understanding many of the patterns and challenges we face. I am really looking forward to exploring this with you today.
Okay, so let's start by talking about why our relationship with our parents are so significant in family constellation. Oriane, what makes this connection so important?
Well, in family constellation, we see that our parents are our first and most vital connection in life. Obviously, they gave us life. They provided also security and love. And the way we relate to them often forms the foundation for how we relate to ourselves, to others, and even to the world around us. And you know what? When there is unresolved tension or the feeling of being rejected or any imbalance in these relationships, it can create ripples that show up in other areas of life, like your love relationship or your career, or, even a physical health.
Yeah, that's so true. I often find that clients come in with challenges that seem unrelated to their parents, but as we look deeper, we discover that there's some sort of disconnection or unresolved dynamic there. So, for example, I worked with someone who felt blocked in their career, and through their constellation, we uncovered that they were unconsciously rejecting their father's role as a provider. Once that connection was acknowledged, it opened up a new sense of possibility for them.
Mm, that's a powerful example. Thank you, Carol, for sharing. I've also seen how unresolved dynamics with parents can manifest as difficulties in romantic relationships or struggles with self worth. One common theme is when someone feels they need to parent their parents. It's really a big burden because they are taking on themselves responsibilities that aren't theirs. And this can lead to burnout and also this feeling of being stuck in life.
Yeah, and yeah, very true. And another dynamic I see often is when someone rejects one of their parents. They may not realize it, but this rejection can create an inner imbalance because we're made up of both a mother and a father. Rejecting one parent is, in a sense, rejecting a part of ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Half part of ourselves. And it can be very, very painful.
Hmm.
And that's why one of the most healing aspects of family constellation is learning to take our parents as they are. And it's not easy. But when you do that, it changes your life. So when you are able to accept them with their strengths, with their flaws, with their story, their personal story, because they were also children. So, it's like you. This doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather acknowledging the gift of life they have given us and releasing any burdens that aren't ours to carry.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Thank you for sharing. That's such an important point. So I'd like to also touch on what happens when there's absence, loss, or estrangement in the relationship with a parent. Oriane, how do you approach those situations in constellations?
Well, in cases of absence or loss, it's about grieving. So you need to find new ways to reconnect in a symbolically way to your parents' energy or to the role in the family system. Even if the parent is no longer present, their influence is still a part of us. It's about the storytelling we can create about those people, those important people in our lives. For estrangement, it's about acknowledging the pain and exploring whether there is room for acceptance. And you know what? Acceptance is not agreement, it's
Mm,
really to take it as it is.
mm,
And just forget all the forgiveness and any reconciliation because this is not the priority. It's just how to live your life with what it is.
mm. Wow, that's beautiful said, Oriane. It's all about creating balance in the system and finding peace, inner peace, even if the relationship itself doesn't change, actually. I also love how this work helps people release any unspoken burdens they've been carrying for their parents or ancestors. Like, I realized that I was carrying my grandmother's grief when my dad died, and so I had loads of grief double, which was not even mine. So that can be so freeing.
Absolutely. And it's completely normal. Children are so loyal to their parents and to their family that they are willing to carry any anger, any sadness, any trauma, they are carrying to in order to belong, but also to show their love. So this is
Mm.
very important. And for our listeners, one simple step you can take is to reflect on your relationship with your parents. It's a little exercise I can ask you to do. It's ask to yourself, are there any unspoken emotion or burdens you might be holding? So take time, write a letter to your parent, even if you don't send it. And you know what? It can be a powerful way to explore and let go those feelings.
Yeah, and actually, if people are listening to the replay, they could actually pause the replay and do it right here and then. Yeah. Okay. So another way to do it is to renounce to get more from them. That's a tough one. And accept the life they gave you at the price it cost to them. We have some powerful exercises you can experiment when we do the workshop in Cambridge on the 1st and 2nd of March.
Yeah.
Okay, so Oriane, one final word.
Yeah, as we wrap up, I hope today's conversation has given you some insight into the importance of our relationship with our parents and how they shape so much of our lives. Carol, any final thoughts?
Okay, I think it's just so important to remember that healing this relationship is a journey. It's not about perfection. So the story is not going to become amazing all of a sudden. Yeah, but it's about understanding, accepting, and finding balance. Family constellations offer such a powerful way to explore these dynamics. And I hope that this discussion has inspired our listeners to take a closer look at their own family systems.
Yeah. Okay. Before we go, we want to give you a sneak peek at our next episode where we'll be diving into a fascinating topic, and it's a little bit related with the topic of today. It's family debt, the hidden cost of unconscious loyalties.
Okay. Yes, we often inherit more than just physical traits from our families. We also carry emotional burdens, which we mentioned before, that don't belong to us. In the next episode, we'll explore how these invisible emotional debts shape our lives and how family constellation can help us break free.
It's going to be an insightful discussion. So be sure to tune in. See you in the next episode.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. And thank you, Oriane, for another wonderful conversation. Until next time, take care and be kind to yourself.
Thank you, Carol. And thank you all. See you next time.